Yo, what is up? Back with another one. Alright, this time we're doing a more casual style. First of all, new hoodie. This one is nice and soft, unlike the other ones. So that's nice. Also a light blue. Nice. I think it's clean. Yeah, that's that's really all. Anyways, let's go into some of what's been happening. As I said in the last video, I went into a bit of a period where I needed to do or die, I guess, that kind of stuff. I had the next week was looking bleak, to say the least. And to be honest, it just looks bleaker, but it turned out fine, I think. So basically, it all started 2 weeks ago when I promised my one of my big clients that I would finish a certain part of the project in the next 2 weeks, which comes out to the end of this week. Now, I did that thinking that it should be easy enough. I thought it was actually going to take 1 week. It ended up taking 2 weeks, but that is what it is. It's fine. What I then at the same time had a university class where I was supposed to do math, or I did math, and basically I had those two things overlapping, and the math had a test this week, or last week, I guess, because I'm recording this on Monday, as you can see, because I'll tell you right now, this kind of went right down to the wire, so I was not going to spend an extra 30 minutes on doing whatever this is, videoing myself. So basically that was my thinking, and that was definitely tough. I'll tell you right now, my basic plan was Monday study, Tuesday break. No, the other way. Anyways, basically I thought I would just spend 2 days studying, and I ended up spending only 1 day studying, or I skipped Sunday, so technically I had the Tuesday to study, but 2 days to study, but still. I did not know all the material, but I really gamed the system this time. I beat the system like, this one was crazy because the professor had actually left 2 practice tests to do, and I went through both of those as clinically as I could, piece by piece, going every single minute detail to like learn the methods and nothing more. Okay, so basically I was able to do all the math. I did not understand half of it. I'm just gonna be honest. I was not there clinically or mentally. I was not active, as they say. I just did what I had to. But luckily, 5 out of the 6 exercises that were actually on the test ended up being ones from the old tests, so I could just pretty much reuse and recycle those answers and get all the tests, and some of them were the exact same. That was really surprising, because he was the one who gave those old tests, so I would expect him to like change them up, but it is what it is. You do what you do, I don't care. Now that was nice. So I got a little boost, but still I was exhausted, bro. I was doing crazy amounts of work at the start of the week. I mean, just looking at it, it's like that shit was tough. Anyways, so I took Friday break, which was I was still under the guise that everything was going to be fine. There wasn't that much work to do. I was just a little bit of this and that, and you'll be fine. So Saturday, I start working. I work some more. I set a nice 5-hour timer on my phone to go do things. Let me tell you, when that 5th hour hit, the clock was like 9. I knew I was cooked. I knew I was cooked, bro. That's when I realized that shit, bro. I was absolutely cooked. There was absolutely no way I was gonna do all that. So Sunday, let me actually see what I did. I'm pretty sure I just yeah, I kind of split in just a few hours, and then I basically worked until midnight. So yeah, fun times. That's the first time I've ever had to do something like that, but I'll tell you right now, it was it made me feel something. It does, having a deadline that's just impossible does make you do something. It does make you think, ponder, if I do say so myself, ponder upon things. Um, but at the end of the day, I did most of it. Today I just spent responding to some email, making sure my like other things were in order. I made sure I had all my payments and all that stuff. So that was what I was doing today. I took it really light, nothing really special. I might take most of tomorrow off too, because I'm just cooked, bro. You have to understand. Even though the thing is like, the plugin is not, what I promised was the coding part of the thing would be done. Basically, it's not done because I need to do the delivery of the measurements. So basically, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know the details, but basically, there's one part that's kind of on the back end that I still need to do, which I haven't done, and that's something I just need to do. But I don't think it's going to be crazy, because it's just some basic math. So hopefully, I think I do that tomorrow. I finish that, maybe 3-hour work session. Not going to be too bad, maybe. And hopefully with that we'll be done. I'll then have to move on to finishing the actual website, doing all of that. And but I think that at the end of the day will be fine, because it's like, it's not that much work compared to this, obviously. I'm not doing multiple web pages. I'm just doing a one-pager that's just focused on sales. And I think most of the next 2 weeks I'll just focus on bug fixes. Now the next problem is basically back to back with that. I have another project which I have made the due date January, halfway through January, which I think will fucking cook me. I think I'm gonna be cooked, as the youngins say. I don't know what I'm gonna do, bro. I think I'm gonna push that deadline back, because like, at the end of the day, what does it matter if it's January? I think I'm just going back on my word if I don't push it back. I think I definitely should. And the way I was talking about how I want the quality to be good, I don't want to deliver some dog shit. So I might just right after this go say that it's gonna be until January, because that shit is something I'm not so sure about. But on the other hand, well, I really have to start that project, because if I don't start it, I don't know how cooked I am. I really have no idea. Because I might actually be fine, but on the other hand, I might not be. I just don't know. I just have no way of knowing until I try, because currently I have a month left, which is actually a pretty good development time. I want to have like a month left, but then if I'm a month of doing crunch, now that's not a good development time. So really, I don't know. It's just a mystery. Some of this shit is just mysterious. Yeah, and yeah, basically, that's what's on the plan. Also, start of next year, I'm gonna have university classes, so I'm gonna get back to like a more full schedule. So we'll see how that affects the business. Hopefully everything will be fine. I think so, because at the end of the day, I don't need to get a very good grade. I think I can get a very low grade, and I will be fine. So we'll take that as a win. W, I don't know. That type of stuff. Because basically right now, all my responsibilities have been done. I'm fully completed and all that, and what that leaves me with is basically finishing work. I think with that being said, I can really just double down on that and I will be fine, honestly. I feel like the amount of work capacity that opens up to me once I genuinely have nothing else to do except work is massive. And I've seen that this week. I'll transition this fluently to the next topic, which is what I've learned about work-life balance, work, hard work, and pressure. All right. Basically, you learn that pressure makes diamonds. That was a dumb one. I'm sorry about that. Basically, what I'm understanding is you do adapt to your environment, obviously. But that does mean when the pressure comes off, also the amount you're willing to sacrifice also decreases. Or yes, it decreases. That means it's going to be much more difficult to do the things that need to be done. When pressure increases, I'm doing some hand signs. When the pressure increases to a higher level, that means if you kind of don't break, you will be able to do more, unlock more of your potential, because it takes less effort to do the things you need to do, even if they're difficult, because you have a bunch of pressure making you do them. The problem is when you have too much pressure, that pushes you all the way down until you break, and after that you have to recover. And that's tough. I'll tell you right now, that is tough. You don't want to be in a place where you have to recover. But if you can make yourself be under pressure, it does make everything a lot easier. Like I would normally not, I don't want to say be able to, but like it would not happen easily for me to be working until midnight. But I'll tell you, yesterday, it felt like nothing. The hours were just flying by. I wasn't even thinking about the time. Half the time I'm like, I put on myself a timer, give a timer how many hours I have to work. I was not thinking about the time. I'll tell you right now. The most I was thinking about the time was like, if I go to bed after this, I'm gonna be like fucked up next day. And I was basically racing against the clock, which made it very much so like not something I was thinking about. And I really think that's something that's that should be kept in mind. Like most of the time you're not lazy, you're just I mean, you are lazy. Okay, if you can't work without pressure, obviously you're lazy or whatever. Right? You don't have the discipline to do the hard things in life. Whatever, I don't care. You know, take the definitions of whatever you will. I don't care at the end of the day. What I'm trying to say is it does make it easier. And if you want to make hard work easier, usually you should take those chances. Just an opinion. I don't really have an example of me going on the opposite edge of that pressure being too much. I don't know if that pressure bends differently, because I do remember having some very tough times with school when I had just so much to do for school, that the pressure did break me. But then I would like recover really quickly. And now when I'm thinking about the amount of pressure that was, at the end of the day, it wasn't that much. Like I didn't have to work that hard to like overcome that pressure. So I think it's also context dependent, the amount of pressure you're able to take as like fuel until it starts to become, start to have negative effects on your output. So it's something I'm still very interested in, and has a very has effects that I think I need to understand better. But that's basically it for that. So I think deadlines, there is definitely merit to them, even giving yourself deadlines and just speaking them out loud. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna, as long as they're somewhat reasonable, you're going to be able to meet them good enough. you're able to have like be close to perfection. At least if you've done it before. If you haven't done it before, it's like a completely different thing. Don't make promises on shit you haven't done before. If you've done if you've done stuff, you would know how long about it takes to do something. And if you know about how long it takes to do something, promising to do it in the average time just means if there are problems, you're going to have to work harder. And if there are no problems, then you'll be fine. But if you do that, it just compresses the average time to be lower. The laggards, laggards, I don't know the words. Basically, the times you would normally take the longest to finish work, you pull them closer, closer to you. So the average time gets pulled back, but not because the earliest possible time gets pulled forward, but because the longest possible time it could take gets pulled to your to this artificial deadline. That's basically my thoughts on that. So it does compress, but only to like some extent. If you have too much work, you're just not going to be able to do it. And if you cannot comprehend the amount of work you have, you're not going to give it the attention it needs early enough. That's basically something you have to deal with these deadlines. I think it's very interesting, but it also could be very dangerous, because if you start going around doing some promises which you do not fulfill, you will be in big trouble. That is not a good idea. And trust is very important, and you do not want to lose that, especially with big clients. That is not something you want to play around with. But just making promises is something you should generally be doing, because like otherwise how could someone trust you if you haven't made a promise, fulfilled, made, fulfill, made, fulfill? If you just kind of do stuff, it's hard to like at the end of the day, it's difficult. Like, what are you doing if you're not making any promises? Like, let me turn it on like that. Like, originally this project was 3 to 4 months. That was the original game plan for this one, and all I did was the 4 months would have been in a month. So basically, I pulled it forward a bit because I knew that I could do it. Now, did I miscalculate the exact date? Yeah, but that's like, I'm not promising the finished product, I'm promising a part of the finished product to be done. And at the end of the day, if it's not exactly done, that doesn't matter that much, because it can be fixed later. But basically just, that was the original promise, so I just made a new promise that improves upon the last one, because the last one was like true, that was a fulfilled promise. So I just make a new promise that I yet again fulfill, pulling more trust and making the client feel better, because like, yet again, you've put your trust into something, into someone's promise, my promise, and I've yet again fulfilled all that. So that's the highest rung of like belief, trust, you know, that's what you're building up. That's what this is all about. Because especially in this kind of industry, it's like there are just a lot of people who are all about doing things as cheaply as possible, and they just scam. And that's unfortunate. that's unfortunate. So to be able to charge higher prices, you need to be able to be trustworthy. The only way you are able to be trustworthy is if you make promises and keep them. Okay, I think I am rambling. That's fine. These are my videos, so I don't know, deal with it. Rambling is a part of the subject, but I don't think I have much else to touch on. I think these videos are pretty interesting because I'm focusing in this video a lot more on the way I speak, enunciating every single word, kind of going more into this kind of speaker role where I don't end every single sentence with focusing on speaking well, basically. because that's what I'm practicing basically. These videos are just to see what are my skills in speaking in front of a camera, because I believe it's a somewhat important skill. So yeah, I decided to practice it. That's what I'll be doing, and I'm coming up on the end of actually my first year, which will be interesting. I really want to make a little montage, a video, of the whole year, but I don't have the time at all. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll see. I think it'll be weird to hire someone, because I do know a few guys who could do video editing, but I think I'm better off doing it myself. I need to find out a way to like do it smartly, in a smart way. I don't know. I'll see to that problem when it gets closer, how I'm gonna solve it. But yeah, I think very well I've succeeded in doing what I wanted with these videos, which is the main point. I'm not like here to become a YouTuber. I do my own jobs, and this is not a very large chunk of time every week, but I think these have value in not just being kind of historical markers of what I'm doing, but also showing what I'm like feeling, what I'm doing, those kinds of things. And I think that's the one. Those are the type of things that you genuinely have a connection to, or that have value later on. Basically that. Yeah. I don't think there's much else to go on this week. I think the next week I'm going to be working a lot more, and hopefully getting closer to completion with this client, and hopefully starting on the next project with my other client. So I get to scope that out and maybe see if the other deadline was too much, or if it's okay, or whatever I'm doing. We got a bit more clarity. There is one more straggling client that I do have that I need to finish out, get the billing done, basically have that kind of thing done. But that's about it. I'll see you next week. Peace.